Welcome, everybody, to the March Madness preview special on the Girly True Sports Network. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster, and today we're going to look at McNeese versus Purdue. Purdue is favored by 6.5 points. Now, Clemson didn't get a wake-up call until about the last 10 minutes of their first-round game against the underdog McNeese Tigers. You've also had the Will Wade controversy where he'd already agreed to take the North Carolina State job. People thought that might affect the way his team played. If it did, it affected it positively. Now, Clemson is a team that was a pretty good favorite coming in here. They were considered the second best team in the ACC. But after what happened yesterday to Louisville and what happened to Clemson, it makes you wonder if that's that big of a deal. The ACC was really bad. Now, McNeese State came in. They were rolling. They were terrific. They held on for dear life. In the only game I've ever seen, it was a 69-67 blowout. Purdue was, and when you look at Purdue yesterday against High Point, they sputtered at times. They coughed it up a little bit, and then it remembered it was Purdue, and that they'd won 5 tournament games last year. So the past is in the past. No first round loss this year. There'll be a decent sized favorite in the second round. And both of these teams will bring energy to this game. The winner will play either Houston or Gonzaga in the Sweet 16. Both matchups would be very tough for both of them. Now, besides Clemson being comatose in the first 20 minutes, how did McNeese pull this off? Well, it kept attacking interior over and over again. Now, when you say that at the end of the season, Purdue had a rough stretch because really Purdue got attacked on the interior and they couldn't deal with it. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this year's Purdue team, it's able to bang away on the inside with Trey Coffin Wren, but it's far different with Zach Edey or without Zach Edey dominating defensively. The Cowboys will keep driving. They'll get to every loose ball, and the Boilermakers are 313th in the nation in rebounds. So none of that sounds real good right there. Yeah, what McNeese did to upset Clemson, which held Clemson to 13 points in the first half, was, Will Wade basically outcoached Brad Brownell in the first half. They hadn't really played a 2-3 zone all year long. Coach Wade said that he'd practiced it for the Southland Conference tournament, but never used it. That 2-3 zone completely befused and befuddled the Clemson Tigers. Now, Clemson figured it out in the second half, but it was too late by then. Stuff got real for McNeese late against Clemson. It wasn't finally settled in. Clemson was hitting threes. They were far more active, and they scored 13 points in the first half. It put up 54 in the second. See, the difference here is I don't think Purdue panics. And I think if you play a 2-3 zone, Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, and the guys are going to tear you up. All right. Purdue's a good three-point shooting team that managed to come up with one of its best performances of the year on the boards and to win over High Point. And High Point was a well-coached team by Alan Huss and a good basketball team. It was a solid win for Purdue. And a lot of people, probably over half the nation, especially people that were Indiana fans, were like, High Point's going to beat them. That's going to be the upset. It didn't turn out to be that. All right. And this might be a smallish bunch to compare to what it normally brings at Purdue. But that's actually a negative or a positive here, I think, against McNeese. McNeese is going to attack. They're going to hit the boards. They're going to be relentless. The difference between Purdue and Clemson is this. I know he catches a lot of fire, or he's under fire a lot, but I think Matt Painter is a better coach than Brad Brownell. I don't think he's going to be caught off guard by what McNeese does, and I think McNeese is just going to have to play defense like they normally do. I don't think the 2-3 zone will work. McNeese is the real deal, though, and Will Wade is the real deal, and I expect to see North Carolina State quickly in this tournament once he gets to Raleigh. Now, McNeese pushed Alabama early in the season. They gave Mississippi State a nightmare at times, and it more than proved how good it was with that performance against Clemson. Michigan is 12-0 when hitting 10 threes, and 16-2 when coming up with more than 7. Purdue's three-point defense will come through, I think, with a strong performance here. I think Braden Smith is going to be the best guard on the court. I think, Coffin Wren's going to be the best big man. I think Purdue is going to win this game. The point spread is another issue at 6.5 points. I think Purdue is going to struggle many times during this game, especially in the interior. I think Purdue ends up winning this game somewhere in the area of 75-70. So if I'm betting the game, I'm taking McNeese State in the points. If I'm betting money line, I'm taking Purdue. I think Purdue will advance to take on the winner of Houston and Gonzaga in the Sweet 16. But I think Purdue McNeese is going to be a great basketball game with two excellent head coaches, no matter what you think of Will Wade from McNeese. And if you're a Purdue fan, back off Matt Painter because most teams, after losing a guy like Zach Edey, fall off a lot more than this. And I think you could possibly say right now, and I don't think there's much doubt about it, I think Purdue is better than UConn was last year. Now, UConn won it all, but UConn lost a lot of guys too. Matt Painter's done a great job at Purdue this season. I think Matt Painter's going to the Sweet 16. I just don't think he's going to cover. All right, guys, if you want to bet this game, the top sports book for betting this game is BetMGM. You can click on the link in the description down below. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Check out thegruelingtruth.com. But for now, guys, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.